but we'll go ahead and start referencing this as a nervous system activation and stimulation breathwork pattern, because this one is one that will greatly increase the cortisol rhythm, the energy in the body, in the nervous system, as well as help to connect the central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, cranial nervous system, enteric nervous system, and your abdomen, and help with the autonomic nervous system regulation of all of these things in the patterns. So the breathwork sequence we're going to do is we'll follow three different layers of this breath. So we're going into a breathwork hold sequence where we're challenging our system to go into a hypoxic state. And we want to really support holding your exhale as long as possible, because that's how much your body is able to then do the transfer. We'll go on an average of about 1 minute breath hold. And if you need to release sooner, then you can. And then just breathe normally until we go into our next sequence. And then if you are able to continue holding even past, feel free to. And if you want to ever pause this video as you're watching the recording again and do a longer breath hold sequence, then you can. I also will go ahead and just film like an advanced version of what your ideal is, so that if ever you need to release from that breath hold sooner, then you can, but you can have that recording at least. And that's going to be a full 2 minute breath hold, where you're just holding out for as long as you can. And that's that true, really strong hypoxia transference. And then the other style of breath that we're going to follow up is called fire breath. I will have you do these breathwork sequences, and then I'll tell you, go into the exhale hold. And then I'll also at the same time just have you, I'll do a few like little ways to trigger your system or your nervous system to start thinking about things in a specific way, because there's a wonderful way that we're activating the bioenergetic system as well, so that your energy patterns and energy systems are all clearing, even in subtle energy fields, auric fields, and etheric fields. And so with the breathwork series, I don't know if you're going to be able to hear me breathing, because this mic is really good mic and it picks up only speaking, I think. It doesn't oftentimes pick up breath sounds. And so if you don't hear me breathing, just know and trust that we're just still doing that breath series. And one other thing that I love to add in is where we're kind of doing a rhythm with the spine. And so you practice this as well for whatever level feels comfortable to you. That rhythm is so that you're helping to pump the cerebral spinal fluid in a stronger way. So the CSF is one of the ways that we're carrying out debris, gunk, buildup from the brain, like all of the just trash, the garbage that needs to get taken out, inflammation, biotoxins that have been cleared, clearing out communication signals, neurotransmitters that we no longer need. And so this is a great way that we're doing this breathwork sequence to help with cleansing, clearing, and detoxing from the nervous system. And then a great way also that we're activating the circadian rhythms for your adrenals. So the way that we go into this sequence is, first, we're going to do 1 second in, 1 second out for the inhale and the exhale response. You're doing a very forceful exhale, and you breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. And if you want to, you can also use your hands to kind of get more of a pumping action with your fascia, because with that, that's also activating the nervous system. And then the movement within your spine, this will be enough to help activate the Kundalini energy, as well as the energy within your cerebral spinal fluid for helping with pumping up. So just that little bit of movement and motion can ideally support that entire peripheral nervous system. And with all of this, what you do is, if you are feeling a little bit dizzy, that can be typical for first time users of this type of breathwork sequence. And that's just how your nervous system is getting used to this whole new concept, because as we're breathing 25 breaths, you're breathing out so much of your carbon dioxide and really hyperoxygenating your blood. And then in the exhale, we're going back into a hypoxic state, less oxygen. And so it's very typical to feel like some kind of like zinging, numbness, tingling, things like that, especially if you're doing the pumping, because it's just pumping the blood flow too. And it's really just helping to expel and express that blood into the capillaries, into the tissues, and into all the muscles and fascial systems that it may not have been getting out to in that peripheral cardiovascular system as much. So feel that's normal, but if you need to just take it easy, don't breathe as quick, as intensely, I guess. If you want to just go to a lower level, that works too. And then you can always sit in a chair that has a back that you feel comfortable in as well. And only for like advanced breathwork users, then that's where you can do the standing, just because then at that point your nervous system isn't going to get dizzy and make you pass out or fall or anything. All right, so let's go into the sequence. We're going to do 3 breathwork patterns. And with each breathwork series, we're going to do 25 breaths. And then we'll, at the end of that last breath, then I'll have you slowly release like a feather breath. Feather breath means that if there's a feather in front of you, you wouldn't see it move. Like if you're holding it on your hand in front of you, you just wouldn't blow the feather off. So it's very slow, gentle decrease or exhale. And it takes about 30 seconds to exhale. And then you try to stay in that sustained exhale for 30 more seconds if you're able to. All right, let's go ahead and start. So inhale. Last one. Inhale. Slow exhale. Feather breath pattern. Gently releasing into the void. Twenty more seconds. Stay in this void for as long as you're able to. Trust in this process. 5 seconds. And inhale. We're going to hold in an inhale for about 30 seconds, just hyperoxygenating our system again. With our lungs filled with oxygen, now our blood flow is going and picking up that oxygen, latching on tightly. And release and repeat 25 breaths. Last one. And inhale. Slowly release in a feather breath pattern. Gently releasing into the void. The more you relax, the easier it is to stay in this void. Feel the peace rather than resisting the need to inhale. Just feel this peace in this void. 5 more seconds. And inhale. And hold in this inhale. Most of the time in these moments in the void, either in the exhale void or the inhale void, you'll notice a lot of inspiration coming into your mind, into your brain, into your nervous system. It's always great to have a journal next to you to brainstorm about your ideas and release. And this can also be a wonderful time to just clear brain fog and stress from the day. Let's go ahead and start with our last of the series, 25 breaths. Last one. Slowly release into an exhale. Thirty seconds. Ten seconds. Feeling that inspiration in your body, in your nervous system. And inhale. And stay in this inhale, 30 more seconds. Feel how different your nervous system feels. It's more balanced, more harmonious. Maybe it just feels different, weird. Sometimes you may have experienced dizziness during the breathwork pattern. That's normal. Maybe you feel a little bit of tingliness as there's more blood flow to the brain, as there's just a different type of energy dynamic of the oxygen exchange. And release. So now this next set, we're going to do 3 breaths of fire breath breathing pattern. And we'll go up to 18 breaths. And this one, you're doing a half-second breath in and out. So it's much more rapid. And then what we're doing is we're doing a bit more of this type of undulating movement in your spine because we're really pumping energy up and down the spine. So this one, you'll see more of that kind of wave pattern. And then you definitely want to use your hand grips and your release because that's also for sure helping with pumping the energy patterns and energy flow. This is also activating your meridian system. And breathe normally right now while I'm talking. And then the energy patterns, the energy flow, the energy meridians and the acupuncture points, helping to balance the chi and the especially yang energy in the organ systems, which really helps with detox. So it's wonderful for many things. And then also, we focus on the energy patterns of 3 different energy centers. The first that we're focusing on is within the Dantian region. And so this is going to be right here in your sacral region, and it's like right below the belly button. And so it's like one of the creative process centers. It's also going to be very connected to your adrenal system for energy, helps the circadian rhythm to reset. And then it's also just bringing up that wonderful fire energy, yang energy, metabolism energy, and such in your organ systems to just encourage that healthy detox. The second of the series, we're going to be focusing on the root chakra, like down in the pelvic floor. This is also going to be linked to kidneys, ureters, urethra, like reproductive organs and glands and just the hormones in general. And then it's also linked to your sense of like safety, security, financial abundance, those kinds of things. All those things that are like your root chakra kind of energy where you just feel that need to be provided for, to feel that this like your life is cultivating health. So this is one of those subconscious places where a long wellness journey, a chronic wellness journey, it takes a toll on us and our trust in our own body's ability to heal and trust that we are going to get better. So we're clearing that, releasing that with that second breathwork series. The third, we bring our energy up to our third eye area or the pineal gland. It's also activating the entire brain, the nervous system region, and it's helping us to see our wellness journey, as well as also seeing and truly appreciating that self-love and self-trust in our own body's ability to heal, reactivating that alignment with innate healing capacity, which means our body can heal from anything, no matter what. So it's like getting into some of that miraculous type healing that you're able to unlock. And so feeling that, as well as the expansiveness of just the connection with your future, and a future that is not chasing health. It's not where you're constantly having to chase health. You just feel like you're vibrant in a vitalistic space. And so that's what we're focusing on there. Then at the very end, I'll teach you a little pattern where we're bringing our energy down that we've cultivated, because as all energy expands around us, it's expanding into our field. And we want to bring in all that wonderful energy to our center, into our heart space, just to continue to maintain it and cultivate that. All right, so let's go ahead and start with this breathing pattern now. You've had a little reset since you breathed for those moments that I was explaining this, and I'll do the breathwork series for you. And we're just breathing together 18 breaths, and you're going to do very rapid in and out, and it's in your nose the entire time. So now we're blocking your nose, and you're going to do the same thing, 18 breaths with your nose blocked. Now release and breathe normally to reset. And the reason why we're blocking the nose and closing the mouth, keeping the mouth closed, is because we're flexing all 5 of the diaphragms. This is what creates a really powerful pumping action of the cerebral spinal fluid and the energy centers. As you're breathing normally, just resetting, you can listen to me explain about this. We have a diaphragm in our pelvis. We have a diaphragm in between our abdominal organs and our lungs, the main diaphragm that we think of. We have a diaphragm of our esophageal center and in the back of the palate, and a diaphragm in the vestibular, like in the little lakes. These are like the little centers around the ventricles and things. This is where there is a cerebral spinal fluid flow, and that pumps that part of the brain. So it's this very gentle pumping action. So that's the reason why you're doing that. And if it feels unusual, if you feel you're popping your ears and kind of like increasing that pressure, that's very normal. So you're doing it right. All right, focusing on our next area in the pelvic floor and the pelvic basin. And release. Breathe normally, couple of breaths to reset. You'll really feel your energy centers activating, especially over the peripheral nerves and your around your spinal cord activating. You'll feel the meridian flow of the energy much more strongly. Maybe feel a little bit of heat and warmth. Some people start sweating with this fire breath, all very normal. And just trusting that you're getting that wonderful fluid flow, spinal fluid flow. And we'll go into our last of the breathwork sequences with the fire breath now. 18 breaths and then block your nose, and 18 breaths with your mouth closed, nose closed. And release into normal breath pattern now. And take our hands. You can place your left palm on top of your right palm with your fingers overlapping like this, and then your thumbs coming together. This is the bowl holding the wisdom, space for energy to flow in, filling that right in front of your umbilical cord. And then we're setting your intention for what you just activated within this breathwork sequence and how you're embodying that reality change within your life around you, as well as within your body, within your energy fields. Now, splitting your hands apart, going around in a circle, and then bringing down the energy from above that you've just cultivated. Feel it coming down, down to your Dantian region, right at your below your umbilicus. And then back up and cross your hands over your heart. Settle and anchor that energy into your heart. Good. And then most of the time, this is one of my favorite times of the day to do a little bit of journaling and inspirational, like wisdom gleaning and things like that, because now you've activated your brain, you've cleared some brain fog, cleared some chronic fatigue, you're more clicked in, just reset. You can practice this as many times throughout the day as you'd like, at a minimum once per day. All right, so tell me how you felt. Anything that you would like to ask questions about? Anything unusual that you'd like me to explain about, like that you felt? If most people feel some numbness, tingling, dizziness, and that's all very normal and not harmful at all to your body. It's very helpful to your nervous system because it's just that oxygen exchange rate, like the hypoxia, but then also the hyper oxygenation as well.